Hey, how's it going, everyone? Alright, so today we're going to be talking about, oh boy, very controversial because there's a lot of politics in play, especially right now, which really there shouldn't be any politics in play. This is very much like, oh, I don't really want to say common sense, but it really comes down to it. It's all about factory made food versus non factory made food. And the people right now that are putting up the biggest fight, the biggest opposition, are really the processed food companies. Because what has happened over the last many, many decades now, going back to the 70s, of when the old previous food pyramid, right behind me, pretty much was created, if you actually do a deep dive and look into it, it is very factual that there was a lot of influence from Wall Street. I will definitely be making a whole nother video about this, and it is public information like 50 plus years later. It may sound like a conspiracy theory for some people watching, but no, it is very factual. Wall Street, a lot of investors had a lot of monetary value to put grains pretty much as the largest foundation to the food pyramid over 50 years ago. To basically pretty much say, hey, you should be eating a very grain heavy diet. You should be consuming a lot of grains, even though a lot of people, including myself, we get bloated when we eat a lot of grains. That's not normal. For years, I honestly thought bloating was normal because when you continuously experience it, it becomes a normal routine. Being bloated is not normal. It is a inflammation response to the food that you are eating. And a lot of people just continue doing it because, well, I mean, the friggin' pasta these days tastes so amazing, right? So therefore you become addicted to it, regardless of how you feel. That is a really big problem. But I want to go ahead and make a video giving my reaction today on the new pretty much the food pyramid here. Hopefully this really does stay in place and dumb politicians don't go back and forth and this doesn't become political, because that would just be really stupid. That is like what we do not want to happen. This is just very much like common sense in the terms that factory made food, processed food should not really be like everyday consumption. And unfortunately, the processed food companies have found ways to manipulate grains. Yes, you can be eating a lot of grains that may seem very healthy and may even say healthy on the packaging made by processed food companies. And they may even advertise saying, hey, this is grains, okay? But they leave out the part about it's made in a factory, it's ultra processed, it has way too much sodium, it has chemicals in there that's going to make it addicting, and it's going to contribute to health problems. Totally leave that out. Okay, so I'm on HHS's website. Trump administration reset U.S. nutrition policy, puts real food back at the center of health. There's really nothing wrong with that at all. Regardless of what regardless of your politics, eating real food should be at the core structure. Whatever you're doing, whether you're doing a plant-focused type of living, whether you're doing just a standard variation of a ketogenic style of living, a red meat version of a ketogenic diet, or whether you're a carnivore. I mean, whatever variation of a ketogenic lifestyle you may be doing, this YouTube channel, if you are new here, welcome, is very much ketogenic based. I myself am very much carnivore based. But I mean, hey, if you are a low carb vegan and if it's working for you, more power to you. But ultimately, cutting out the processed food is gonna be your first step. And restoring science and common sense. Implementation of dietary guidelines, foundation, feeding programs. I'm just going to really summarize this really quickly. Real food, prioritizing protein. something that I myself have done my entire adult life. And I mean, my variant of PKD is very aggressive and very bad, and it is utterly reversed because I have chosen to prioritize protein once again. Growing up as a kid, I had plenty amount of red meat protein. My 20s, plenty amount of ribeyes protein. Early 30s, and then suffered a gym injury. Utterly just stopped training, exercising. 2.5 years, I essentially lived on grains and ultra processed food and high amounts of sugar, and my kidneys grew. So, yeah, this is very important, not only for the polycystic kidney disease community, but also important for anyone. Prioritizing protein. So, very important. Yes, dietary guidelines have demonized protein in favor of carbohydrates. Basically, the past food pyramid has shown a lack of protein and has said, hey, grains. Grains are carbs, okay? Let me put it this way. One of the reasons that I feel like that I did not have an issue with the type of disease that I have during my 20s is because I was a marathon style runner. If you wake up and say, I'm going to go ahead and run 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 miles for fun, like I used to do, and you're racking maybe 20 to 30 miles per week, and then you want to get big and put on a lot of body mass, and you're just lifting, and you're pretty much just burning any carbs that you consume, theoretically, you probably could take in hundreds and hundreds of grams of carbs. But here's the reality. The average person is not going to be doing that. The average person cannot handle hundreds and hundreds of grams of carbs. And when you live on carbs, grains, it is so easy to rack in hundreds. And I'm talking like 4, 5, 600 grams of carbs per day. That's what I did for 2.5 years, and the kidneys grew, and now I take in anywhere between 10 to maybe 20 grams of carbs per day. And well, when for 5 months of doing zero total carb carnivore, that's when the utter deflation happened in my kidneys. Right now, I'm just chilling in a very, very, very low carb state, but still, it's a big difference. Very big difference. These guidelines reflect gold standard science by prioritizing high quality, nutrient dense foods in every single meal. Very true. Animal sources, eggs, poultry, seafood, red meat, very important. In addition to plant source protein as such as beans, peas, nuts, seeds, and soy. Avoid highly processed foods. Very, very big. For the first time, the dietary guidelines call out the danger of certain highly processed foods. There were a lot of politics in play with the food pyramid. Like I said, you really gotta look this stuff up. There's phenomenal YouTube videos that have definitely been shadow banned. I'll definitely put together a really good video probably in the near future, but it's very scary to actually understand Wall Streeters were very much in the making of the food pyramid because they had a lot of money invested in the agriculture business during the 70s. You don't believe me? Look it up. But if you're getting your sources from mainstream media, yeah, you're not gonna find that. You got to go the step further. Avoid added sugar. Very important. Okay, refined sugar. If you look on your label of like maybe let's say a soda, you notice it has sugar and then added sugar. Okay, it's garbage. If you look on a label of a package of, let's say, maybe blueberries, you're gonna notice like sugar. But understand that if you're eating a lot of like blueberries, berries in general with PKD or any type of metabolical like disease, even those maybe couple dozen grams of sugar may still impact you. I actually didn't notice a like shrinkage in my kidney size until I completely really lowered that significantly. So understand that berries may not even be your friend. You may just have to avoid a lot of sugar in general. And if you are fearful about avoiding sugar, your body makes its own blood sugar. You're not going to die. There are a lot of dietitians out there and doctors that are very fearful about saying, "Oh, no, you gotta keep your blood sugar high." Your body makes its own blood sugar. I can definitely make a video talking about that too. But ending the war on healthy fats, very important. Okay. Yes, there is a war on healthy fats. It goes back to President Dwight D. Eisenhower. It's a very heated debate. During that time frame, President Eisenhower had a heart attack. He was a smoker. They blamed it on cholesterol. He was a smoker. Doctors during that time recommended smoking to take away anxiety. Not a lot of people are willing to talk about that. Yes, doctors okayed smoking. Really? Yeah, they did. You got to look that up too if you don't believe me. They've been wrong before. I'm not trying to bash on doctors. I love doctors so much, but the narrative has been wrong so many times that you gotta do your own due diligence, and you gotta also have common sense. Okay. So ending the war on healthy fats, that's very epic, because for many years, eggs were deemed as, hey, you can't be eating too much eggs. It has too much fats. Even though the cholesterol that you eat is not the same cholesterol that you get when you go for a blood draw. That's also very factual too. A lot of people are worried about their cholesterol level because eggs are high in cholesterol. No, the cholesterol you eat is not the same you get on your blood draw. And I'll go ahead and add this notion once again. I'll make another video about cholesterol and my whole take on it. When you fast, your cholesterol goes up. If you know what I mean by that, you get it. A lot of people are scared about their cholesterol, but yet when we stop eating food, your cholesterol will go up. So you really got to have a lot of education around this topic, but all this really comes from outdated information from the 50s, the 60s. A lot of politics were involved during this time frame, including diets, lowering carbs to manage chronic disease. Very, very big and very important, and that's what we're doing here on this channel. So, going back to the food pyramid here, just really want to go ahead and give my take really, really quickly. So we basically pretty much see, it's kind of ironic, flip the food pyramid. I'm actually not really a big fan of pyramids too. Very demonic. If you actually look into them in the history. You got, it looks like a ribeye, you got some cheese, you got some ground beef, you got maybe a chicken, a turkey, poultry, you got some non-starchy veggies. It looks like maybe that may be, yep, no, that's a tomato on top. So on top, that's a tomato, you got some peas, you got some carrots, and then the second layer here is kind of really, maybe it's like layer 1.5, going from the top to the bottom. It looks like you do have an apple here, but you do have an avocado. I'm a very firm believer that an avocado a day will keep the doctor away, not an apple a day. Apple is very high in carbs and sugars. There's no fat, no protein. Very important for PKD. You got to choose the avocado. Very low in carbs, very practically no protein, but also practically no net carbs. Yes, it does have quite a bit of fiber, but it also has luxurious amounts of great fats as well. Not to mention avocados, oils are made from avocados. You got some berries up here. Then you go further down and you notice how grains are at all the way to the bottom. But you also know that we don't have any crapola here, such as factory-made food, such as just utter bullshit, in my opinion. Actually, no, it's really not an opinion. It's factual. So, on a closing note, I really want to go over something very quickly here, because this is very important. Because understand that factory made food, and yes, I used to eat this all the time. I ate a lot of these during my 20s. I was definitely not perfect, but like I said, I was an extreme athlete back then. So, mashed potatoes, you gotta add in quotations that this is fake crap and this is factory made food. Instant mashed potatoes is not real. Okay? What is real mashed potatoes? You buying an organic, gigantic potato, whether it's 100 grams, 200 grams, you put it into your oven, you bake it, you take a couple tablespoons of butter, and then you also have some good protein on the side. And the amount of carbs in that one protein, in that one potato, it could be anywhere from maybe 20 to 50 grams. But you also got great fat, butter, saturated fat. You could also maybe add some avocado oil if you want to dabble in that, or some organic extra virgin olive oil. Just make sure it's in a glass jar. It's not in a plastic jar. I got to be making a video on that too. You always want to go to the glass jar option. And the reason being, really quick, is because a lot of these oils are heated in factories. Microplastics are real. You got to be aware of that. There are people out there that are very sensitive to microplastics. But this is fake food. It's not real. One word ingredients: whole food, organic potato. What is this? Well, let's go ahead and look at some of the ingredients here. So, look at the serving size. There is 4 serving size in this one packet. So let's go ahead and scroll down a little bit before we go to the ingredients here. 1 serving, so 4 serving size in this packet. I used to be able to eat this entire packet in 1 serving. Like, they tasted so good. Oh, man. You got basically barely no fat. Okay, 580 times 4. That is over 2,200 mg of, that is 2 grams of sodium. I consume around 2 grams of sodium per day. You can't do a low sodium diet with this crap. What do you notice here? Total carbs. So in this one packet, you're getting 80 grams. That's more than like a typical, like, gigantic jumbo potato. Practically no protein, 12 grams of protein. That's nothing. Okay, sure, no sugar at all, but these carbs are pretty much sugar. Whoa! What is this? Whoa! So, we got, okay, I guess we got some potatoes here. Cheddar, parm, blue, Roman, what pasteurized milk, cultures, enzymes, salt, whey. Is whey natural in potatoes? Oh! Seed oil, soybean. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this word, but it can't be good. Non-fat, whoa, corn syrup. I'm not even going to pronounce this, and this is garbage. You know, this is the definition of processed food right here. If you want a real mashed potatoes, you buy a potato, you bake it, you get some butter, maybe some olive oil, extra organic version, avocado oil, organic, and you make yourself some mashed taters. This is garbage, and this is what the entire new food pyramid is getting rid of. Prime example of factory-made food versus real food. One-word ingredients. I am on a one-word ingredient style living. Okay, I didn't really mean to ramble on here. I know it's close to 20 minutes. If you are new here, like I said, please subscribe for more future content. Love you all so very much. And anyone from the PKD community, please stick with it. Please keep your goals going. Everything is getting better and better. And who knows, maybe there's going to be even more people waking up and realizing that stuff like this, it ain't the way to go, and you're definitely going to feel better when you get off all these ingredients that are just really fake. All right, see you all later. Bye.